Hi, we're Quaint and Curious Volumes. My name's James. It's a Friday, and so I'm going to do my Friday Reads Report. Don't have a lot to hold up for you because I read an ebook primarily that I got on Libby, and that has gone back to the library since I finished it. So that book was Evicted by Desmond, and it's a nonfiction book about from 2016, and it's mostly a narrative sociology of people, landlords and renters, and homeless people in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And it has a lot of supporting documentation in the back, research notes and such. But the author went and lived in a low rent trailer park for a long time, and spent a lot of time actually witnessing the things that he describes. It reads very much like a novel. Then there will be extensive footnotes that kind of, when he makes a more general statement, there will be a footnote and the explanatory notes often go on for paragraphs about documentation and statistics. But it's a really moving portrait. There's only one landlord. Well, it's a married couple who are landlords, Sharina and Quentin. And Sharina is kind of a sympathetic character. So is the owner of the trailer park, Tobin. You can understand why they do some of the things they do. Sharina is like a former fourth grade teacher who kind of stumbled into being a landlord and ended up owning a lot of property in Milwaukee and doing quite well at it. But there are points where her kind of disconnection is astonishing. At one point, she's just finished evicting someone. She's been in housing court shortly before Christmas, and she and her soon-to-be former tenant are standing outside the courtroom, and Sharina, the landlord, is complaining about how hard it is to be a landlord. And she says, "Take my advice, don't ever become a landlord. You always get the short end of the stick," to a person that she's just thrown out weeks before Christmas in Wisconsin, where it's very cold. So that kind of thing makes it a little hard to be fully sympathetic. Most of the people, they've had hard lives, and according to the letter of the law and the agreements that they've signed, they're getting evicted, because they've broken the contract that they had with their landlord. They didn't pay their rent. They brought too much police attention to their house, but you see very clearly how one thing leads to another, and especially when a person is already kind of operating on a very narrow path of success, it's very easy for a small thing to become a big thing, and a big thing to become a catastrophic thing, and it's very sad. But it's so well written, and it was another of these books that was on the Times 100 list, and I'm not gonna read everything out, but when it came out, I went through and requested some on them, and I'm finding that it's I think I'm gonna let some of these go, because when I get them, it takes me off task of. I look at what I've been reading the past month. I'm not reading Quaint and Curious Volumes. I'm reading famous books that Jenna Bush thinks I should read. I gotta get back to the garden, as CSN said. get back to what you come here for. Pornographic poetry, and jokes about Edgar Allan Poe. That's what the people like, right, Louise? Yeah. So anyway, I love Libby, but if you're reading books that other people want to read, it becomes kind of a nagging thing. It's like you get this book and you're like, okay, I'll read that, and then it's like, oh, I've only got 6 more days. I got to start reading this. I got to put this aside, and so I can get this, so someone else can have it. And it introduces an element of time pressure into my reading that I don't care for, especially if I'm also at the same time trying to make it through a very long biography of a tennis player. So that's another thing that I've been reading. You're going to get bored of this, I know, but I'm still reading the Arthur Ashe biography. I'm going to put other things aside. I'm going to finish this by next week, I think. But I'm up to, I think, about 1974. Arthur Ashe is now in his early 30s. There are starting to be, young players like Jimmy Connors who are coming up, who are kind of outplaying him, outworking him a bit. He's gone a couple of times now to South Africa, and the struggle against apartheid is something that was very important to him. And for a long time, he took a couple of different positions about whether the Davis Cup should allow South African players to participate or not. At one point, he makes a list of conditions under which he would travel to South Africa to play. One of which is he doesn't want a passport to say, or his visa to say, to designate him an honorary white, which was apparently a thing. And then he does arrange to go there for the first time, and his visa does indeed say that he is an honorary white. He goes, he travels, he plays good tennis, he tours around, he meets a lot of different people. Some of them, some of the black South Africans say that he shouldn't have gone, that it's providing cover for the apartheid regime, and some are saying that that what he's doing is helpful. When at one point he meets with, after he comes back, he meets with Muhammad Ali, who says that he agrees with Ashe that it's good to go there and to do these exhibition matches and demonstrate how good a player he is in front of integrated audiences, which was not the norm. I've got a couple of quotes I wanted to read about what he was doing in South Africa. Here we go. This is something that he actually says. By not playing, India, this is another thing. Okay, let me skip ahead to make this make sense. South Africa and its apartheid policy is something I like to monitor, he explained. I don't say anything inflammatory, and I don't burn my bridges behind me. I guess the government knows that we both use each other for different reasons. But that's all right. There is progress being made. They like to say to the world, we are not so bad. We let Arthur Ashe play here. I say to them, you are still pretty bad. And then there's another quote. So after that, he goes back and he plays again because he wants to win a championship, win an actual singles title in South Africa. He'd won a doubles title at this point, but win or lose, he was glad to be back in a nation that had become an important part of his life. Asked why he was so eager to subject himself to the indignities of what he acknowledged was a hell of a repressive place, he laughed and cleverly put the onus on white South Africans. It's good for their education. They think blacks are stupid, that they can't make decisions. I shoot down their theories. So, that's a way of going about it. Sorry, I don't want to block Louise. That's pretty cool. There's starting, he's kind of starting to lose a few steps as a professional tennis player. And there's like a new coach, I don't remember his name, who's coming on the scene and is talking about how tennis players aren't real athletes. Like, they're good at playing tennis, but they're not athletes in the way that Julius Erving, Dr. J, is. He's like, if Dr. J played tennis instead of basketball, he would crush all these guys because of his general athleticism, which is kind of interesting. And you can, see, like, tennis had only been a professional sport for a few years at this point. When we think about what people do today, all the kind of optimizations and science that's gone into it, kind of the level of the game, as John McPhee would say, would be increased. So that's pretty fascinating. And Arthur Ashe is also involved in running an organization, an association of tennis professionals. So he's got other things going on in his life. He's friends with Diana Ross. He's a big reader, and this was something that even in the John McPhee book, Levels of the Game, that they remarked on, was one of his weaknesses as a tennis player was that he wasn't completely obsessed with being an athlete. His mind would wander because he had too many. He liked to think about stuff, and as the game went on, he would kind of get a little worse because he would start thinking about other stuff. And there's some of that in here. I think the bookish among you can probably relate to that. So anyway, that's where Arthur is. After I finish that, it's either going to be Dune or Orlando next. Maybe I'll do a one-page challenge. I'll read a page of each and see which one of them speaks to me. I don't know, who knows? Anyway, that's what I'm doing this week. I want to say hello and thank you to Ruben at to readers it may concern. He did the Honest Booktuber tag last weekend and said some very kind things about my channel. I said some kind things about his channel in my version of that tag, but I really was touched by the things he said, and I'm grateful to him. I noticed that I have a few new subscribers, so if you've come from Ruben's channel, welcome, and thanks. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope your reading is going well. I will be back next week with some hopefully quainter and curiouser volumes than I've been featuring lately. Thanks for watching. Bye.